Hajjaj bin Yusuf, the Quraysh, and of course modern era. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when he was asked, he sallallahu alayhi wasallam mentioned that he would have preferred the Kaaba to be rectangular shaped and also the doors to be at ground level. This was Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, but later generation the scholars mentioned that it's probably better just to leave the Kaaba the way it is. Otherwise you will have every single ruler will come generation after generation. They will destroy the Kaaba, they will rebuild the Kaaba, they will destroy it, they will rebuild it. Just in the short era of Hajjaj bin Yusuf and Sayyidina Abdullah bin Zubayr radiallahu anh, in that short period, Abdullah bin Zubayr radiallahu anh, he constructed the Kaaba to the liking of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But later Hajjaj came and he destroyed the Kaaba and then he reconstructed it according to how the Quraysh had it. So this is what we covered last time, and we also gave ourselves some homework that especially of those of us who are here in North America, the four walls of the Kaaba. You have the Hajar Aswad, you have Rukn al-Yamani, and the other two corners. Which wall do we face when we face the Qibla from here to towards Mecca? And of course we have, all of us, we have compasses on our phone, and all we have to do is usually get the compass out on our smartphone, and then all we do is just follow that arrow on our compass. Very rarely do we give ourselves an opportunity to appreciate on which wall. So I believe previously the brothers who participated, they found that from North America we're facing on the wall in which the Hajar Aswad is on that wall. So you have in between Ruknul Yamani and Hajar Aswad. Basically, those of us again who have visited, we will know that in between Ruknul Yamani, the Yemeni corner, and Hajar Aswad, usually the brothers and sisters who are making tawaf, that's when you start reciting Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhab an-nar, and you continuously recite that from the Yemeni corner up until Hajar Aswad. Once you get to the Hajar Aswad, you do the kiss. Of course, if you're near the Hajar Aswad, you touch it. If not, you make a gesture from far and you kiss your palm. And this is the sunnah that we're taught by our Prophet ﷺ. So again, we're going over parts of the seerah that happened and occurred before Nabi ﷺ receives nubuwwah. What are the things that happened and occurred before Nabi ﷺ received nubuwwah? And we'll just, today being the last time, we cover things that happened before bi'that, before Nabi ﷺ received nubuwwah. And inshallah next week, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq, we'll start from after Nabi ﷺ received nubuwwah. So one thing that occurred, very few of us know the chronological order. The chronological order of things that happen in the seerah of our Prophet ﷺ. So we covered that Nabi ﷺ is married to our mother Khadija radiallahu anha. Nabi ﷺ's nikah to Sayyidah Khadija radiallahu anha takes place. They are blessed with 4 daughters. They are blessed with 2 sons. And what happens on the occasion of getting married, Sayyidah Khadija radiallahu anha, she gifts Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam someone by the name of Zayd radiallahu anh. Zayd radiallahu anh was gifted to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam by Khadija radiallahu anha. So those of us who know the history of Zayd radiallahu anh, he is the only companion, only Sahabi mentioned by name in the Quran. No one else has that honor or that privilege from amongst the companions to be mentioned by name. Not even Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anh. Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anh is referenced in Surah Tawbah. إِذْ هُمَا فِي الْغَارِ إِذْ يَقُولُ لِصَاحِبِهِ لَا تَحْزَنْ Inna Allah ma'ana. So Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu an is referenced as the companion of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam in Surah Tawbah. But Zayd radiallahu an is mentioned by name. So we'll unpack this and give ourselves an opportunity to appreciate this. Basically, who was Zayd radiallahu an? Zayd radiallahu an, he belonged to Yemen. He belonged to a Yemeni tribe, and that branch of the tribe that he belonged to was of the Qahtani tribe. It's a very, if we are able to remember these names, then we can get a deeper appreciation. The people of Makkah, the people of Hijaz, they belong to another tribe by the name of Adnani. If you ever followed the lineage of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it goes back to Adnan. So now you can see that Zayd radiallahu an is from the Qahtani Yemeni tribe. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam belonging to the Quraysh. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is from the Adnani tribe. So what happens is that the tribes in Yemen, they were constantly at each other's throat. They were constantly fighting. There was always tribal warfare, and this is no different that at the moment Zayd radiallahu an was about 10 years old. And the tribes are now fighting, and what happens is that these raiders, they take and they kidnap Zayd radiallahu an, and they take him to the slave market and sell him off. Sell him off in the slave market. But what it just so happened, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed that the cousin of Sayyidah Khadija radiallahu anha, Hakim ibn Hizam is his name. He's the one that purchased Zayd radiallahu an from the slave market, and he brought Zayd to Khadija radiallahu anha. Zayd radiallahu an, at that time he was about 10 years old. He was gifted to Khadija radiallahu an by her cousin. And after the marriage to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Khadija radiallahu an, she gifts Zayd to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Zayd, he became a servant to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But over time, Zayd, he began to notice and appreciate and acknowledge the beautiful character of our Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Zayd radiallahu an, he was able to be in very close proximity to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam before Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam received prophethood. Zayd radiallahu an, he was able to witness firsthand, being there right by the side of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam and witnessing Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam's character, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam's honor and dignity, and just a beautiful human being. So what happens over the years, now you can imagine about 10 years pass by. So Zayd is now no longer 10 years old, he's about 20 years old. Zayd radiallahu an's father has been searching for his son for the last 10 years. And word got to Zayd's father, whose name is Haritha. Word got to the father of Zayd in Yemen. Of course, there was many frequent travelers to Makkah, and they recognized Zayd from his Yemeni figure, his makeup, just the facial structure. If many of us can, again, if you ever are given and granted that gift of just looking at someone's face and being able to tell, okay, this brother is from such and such. Certain people have certain facial structure and how they carry themselves. And especially when they start speaking, you can immediately, just in America, one of the examples is an accent. When there's a southern accent, right away you can say you're either from Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. When there's a New York accent, you know that they're from New York. So different regions in America have different accents. Similarly, back then we can appreciate that the Arabs, they had such a memory that not only did they know their family lineage, their father's side and their mother's side, but they even knew the lineage of their animals, the horses and the camels, because they wanted one of the fastest horses, the fastest and the highest quality of camels. So similarly, when the person visited Mecca from Yemen, he recognized Zayd radiallahu an, that he's a Yemeni background, he's not a native to Mecca. So what happens is that he takes this news back to Yemen and mentions to Haritha that I think I was able to find your son. He's in Mecca, he's safe, he's in a good family, he's within a very noble tribe amongst the Quraysh. So what happens is that Haritha, along with the uncle of Zayd, they start making their journey from Yemen to Mecca, that they can sort of sway, maybe at that time they were thinking captors, that convince the captors to let Zayd go and allow for Zayd to go back to his family in Yemen. So what happens is Haritha, he finally reaches Mecca and he finally meets Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and he is praising Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam that, "Oh Muhammad, the son of Abdullah, the son of Abdul Muttalib, you come from a very noble family, you have our son Zayd, and we kindly request that you return him and allow him to come back to his family." Haritha, along with the uncle of Zayd, they were ready to give whatever ransom needed to free Zayd radiallahu an from this captivity. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam at that time, again, he has not received prophethood yet. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he gives a very beautiful and very fair response to Haritha, that, you know what, I listen, I heard what you have to say, this is your son, I acknowledge that, I don't deny it, I don't reject it, but I will give Zayd an opportunity to decide how he wants to proceed, what he wants to do. So at this time in Arabia, this behavior by Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, remember, he's the owner, he's the servant, the slave owner of Zayd radiallahu anh. So for a slave owner just to let him go like that, it was unheard of. So Haritha, he's like, this is a beautiful response. You're going to give Zayd a choice? And the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he mentions that, yes, I'll give him a choice. Whatever he wants to do, I will give him a choice. If he chooses you and to go back to Yemen, he's absolutely 100% free to go. But if he chooses otherwise, then I will support him in whichever way he, Zayd, decides. So of course we know in history it mentions that Zayd was summoned, he's about 20 years old, and the whole scenario is presented before him. Your father is here, your uncle is here, they've been looking for you for the last 10 years, they're here to take you back to your family in Yemen. What do you want to do? And Zayd radiallahu anh, he responds that absolutely not. I am not going back with my father. I am not going back to my family in Yemen. I'd rather stay here in Mecca with our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this was his choice after all. And now Haritha, he's caught off guard. He's like, we've been frantically searching for you for the last 10 years and you want to stay here? Are you being forced to stay against your will? And Zayd, he continues and he says that, Wallahi, I have not found any human being like Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I have not seen such a beautiful human being and behavior and the character and how he treated me. I will never leave his side. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, at that time, what happens is that